I have so many questions from my friends. How to measure a fork and how to install a fork. It's very tricky to install a fork and for it to work very good. How to install your headset, what goes on first, what goes on last, but the most important thing is how much you tighten. If you tighten too much when you drive, you're going to have wobble, you're going to have drift. If you tighten too little, after a week or two, your headset is going to be moving like this, your whole thing. To measure for a new fork is very easy. You just need a couple of measurements. First measurement is here, second measurement, and your third measurement. The first measurement, it's better if I show it to you on a wheel. Here's a 19-inch motorcycle wheel, which is an e-bike wheel too. And you want this to fit on the wheel, right? The first measurement is right here. So this fits on your hub. You see it fits? So you can see this is very important. This is the same part that's on the wheel. It's a hub and it has to go in. Again, screws. This is your wheel hub, same part that's on the wheel. So you can see it better and it has to fit. And then you put your screws on. All wheel hubs are not the same size. You have smaller ones, bigger ones. This is actually one of the bigger ones. It's for a fat tire. And this one is going to be, I just measured right here, about 5.3 inches. Now, I checked this right here. And this is 5.3 inches. I measure with the other side. You can measure this way. Right here, about 5. I'm about 5.25. Come measure here. I'm about 5.25. The good thing is, with a fork, you can be off by a little bit. You can't be off really by a ½ inch, but up to a ¼ inch, you can be off. You're going to be able to squeeze it. So if you're ½ inch too small or too big, you should be good. 1/8 inch, you're good 100%. ¼ inch, you're good 99%. Once you go about ½ inch, you may not be good unless you have a bigger distance this way here. This is for a 19-inch. The second measurement is from here to here. Does this fit on the wheel? And you need a little tiny gap here so it doesn't rub. This is really a 19-inch dirt bike rim with a 19-inch dirt bike tire. And this one is made for 19 inches. You have a little gap here. Now, how do you measure this? It's very easy. From here to here. From here to here, I am to the middle of the screw. I'm about 13 inches. 13 and a half. Again, the measurement you're taking is from right here to right here. And I am 13.25. 13.25. Your last measurement is your headset. Headset goes inside the frame. And your top goes on top like this. What you're measuring is this right here and this right here. So it goes inside the bearings, but most of these, they're tapered here, meaning on the bottom, they're bigger on the bottom, but you only rely on this measurement here. This is the measurement that you rely on. If it's tapered here, it's no problem, because your bottom washer sits a little bit higher. So the 3 important measurements that you need to buy a new fork. This measurement here. So your hub fits. Second measurement is from here to here, so your tire fits. Usually there's two sizes. You have a small fork or a large fork. Small fork will be for your 19-inch motorcycle tires or 20-inch fat boy tires, fat bike tires, 20-inch by 4. Once you go to the bigger ones like 24, 26, or if you go to a 21-inch dirt bike tire or 21-inch professional e-bike tire, it's going to be a bigger one. So forks usually come in two sizes, here or here. Here they can come in multiple sizes. And for your tube, they usually come in 3 sizes. Your most common is going to be 28.6 or 1 1/8. Inside of right here, your most common is 28.6 or an inch or 1/8. Your outside here, so it fits in your frame, is 44 millimeters. That's the most common. That's if you're replacing your bearings. Usually, if you're getting a new fork, you want to replace your bearings. And bearings, you don't want to buy cheap garbage bearings. You want to buy good quality bearings. If you buy cheap garbage quality bearings, you're going to be replacing them again in 6 months, a year maximum. Good quality bearings are going to last you 10 years. Price difference is very small. Cheap ones are $10, good ones are $20. These right here, I think they're like 15. They're very good quality. I also want to show you this here. There's 2 types of hub bearings. You have a hub like this, which is the most popular hub, that you put a screw on the end. This is what most bicycles will have and most e-bikes. It's a very good hub. It works. This is a professional quality hub. The difference is it has a different screw right here, has different bearings, and the screw goes in. Let me show you better here. This right here is a professional quality hub. You can see it's a different type of screw than what you would see on a regular bike or e-bike. And that's this type of hub, and you measure it the same way, from this end to this end. That's how you measure them. If you're getting a new hub, you also measure the inside. It's usually 15 or 20 millimeters, I believe. These are the bigger ones, I believe 20. But most of you won't have these. If you have them, then most likely you know how to measure. This hub here is about $100. This one, you can get a cheap one on Amazon for maybe $10. But these that I have, they're about $30, $35. They're very good quality. How to install a fork. Self-explanatory. Put it on. Put it on. Put your screws, make it tight. Alright? Well, a lot of people forget that you should use the red type. You should use the blue one. This is blue. You don't want to use red. This is not red, it's blue. Blue means you can easily unscrew the screw. If you use the wrong one, it's going to be hard to unscrew. A lot of bikes have these, and you should use them. They go into the frame, so if a screw comes loose, it doesn't come out. But this you can put in the garbage. If the screw comes loose, it's still going to fall out. Just use thread type. Right here. If you're changing your bearings, they go on, right? There's tools that you use to make it tight, stuff like that, squeeze it together. That's a bunch of crap. You don't need no tools. Look how easy it goes in. Take a hammer. This is a plastic hammer. On. I still have the tool to put this on, and I never use it. I used it once. The tool just takes too long to put it on. bam, it's on. Perfect. What I wouldn't use is a regular hammer. But there's another trick. If you're using a regular hammer, just take a piece of wood. Put a piece of wood and hit it with your regular hammer. I use the plastic one. Now, if you are replacing your bearing, it's in. If you were replacing your bearing, to take it out, very easy. Flathead screwdriver and pry it off. Since the new bearing is on, to install it, there's only two parts that go on your fork, the bottom and top, and they ride on the bearing. The bottom, like this, there's two parts. There's a flat part and there's one that's kind of beveled. The bevel goes into the bearing. You see? If you do it this way, then it's not going to ride on the bearing the right way. Put it on. Push it lightly down. That's it. Now, put it in. Up. I take the other washer. Push it in. And your headset is installed. The other parts that go on, I'm going to show you how to put them on in a second. If you're putting a new bearing in, you need to know the size of your opening. Measure your opening. This one is 44. I already know it's 44. It's 44 millimeters. It's one of the most common openings. Your bearing needs to be 44. This right here is a very good quality bearing, and it's 44 millimeter. Take your bearing and put it in. Pound it in. Now, this is the important measurement that you need for a fork. When you're buying a new fork, most likely your bearing is already going to be in there unless it's shot, you're replacing it. And bearing, you just measure it like this. The opening of the bearing. You can see it's pretty close on 30. It's not going to be 100% because this is not a 100% $1,000 tool. This is probably a $2-3 Harbor Freight measurement tool. But I know this size is another very common size, which is 28.6 millimeter. And you can see this is pretty close. It's on 30. Maybe I can make it go. Nope, showing 30. But I know the inside is 28.6, and there's nothing that's pretty close to 30. So your headset is 28.6 millimeters. In inches, it's an inch and 1/8. So again, the inside of your bearing is about 1 inch and 1/8, or 28 millimeters. And you can see this fits almost exactly. Here it says about 29. It's going to be off millimeter this way or that way, and it really doesn't matter. You know why? Because these washers, they're compressor washers. Remember I told you on the bottom gets bigger. So when you put this in, this just sits on the bottom and it finds the spot that it wants to be in. The top washer that goes right here has a hole in it. As you can see, it's cut. It's cut for compression. So meaning your tube can be 1 or 2 millimeters bigger or smaller. Same thing with your bearing. That's why the top is a compression. To install it, it's very easy to install it, but I couldn't find a good YouTube video nowhere to install it. So you have a bearing on the bottom, bearing on top. Let me show you again one more time. This piece goes on the bottom, and this piece goes this way. Again, the bevel part goes to the bottom, so it rides on the bearing. The fork is on. Depending on the type of fork you have, it's going to be a little bit different what you do next. This fork that I have, it's a double fork, has two of these. It's very good for e-bikes, not popular or very good for regular bicycles unless you're doing stunts on a bike, jumping, going downhill. But this one, after this, we put in the top piece for the fork. And the key is, if you make this a tight, you make it just hair tight. That's it. So it doesn't fall off. It's a little tiny hair. Or you don't even have to make it tight at all. That's it. Not even tight. No tightness. Next thing that goes on is your steering wheel stem. Bam. Once you got your stem on, you want to put some washers on. And the trick with the washers is you want them to be higher than your fork. You don't want it to be this way. Your washer's lower, because when you put on this piece here, it's not going to be able to tighten down the right way. So the last stem, your washers come in different sizes. I have 4 small ones and 1 big one. And this one is about 8 bigger. 8 bigger than here. This piece here, it's a compression fit. So this compresses into the tube, then you tighten it to make it tighter. There's no real easy way to get it in. Alrighty now, I got this part here nice and tight, so I can bang this in. So it's going in pretty tight, going in pretty good. Loosen it up, get it in more. I think that's in far enough. Now this is the whole trick how to install your fork. Make this loose. 1 minute later, after I got it loose, if you look at this came loose again too. Look. Now we want to compress this. To compress it, we just make this tight. Now you watch, if I compress it too much, this is too much. This right here. If you leave it this tight, when you drive, you're gonna have issues. And it's very hard to believe, but because it's this tight, you're gonna have sway. You're gonna have slight sway when you drive. You won't drive straight. Now when it's too loose, the head tube is gonna have play like this after a week or two. So this is too tight, you can see. Now I make it a little bit loose. I'm almost there, almost. It's going very easy. Now, it's not tight enough. You see how easily it's moving? So I make it a little tighter. It takes very light pressure to move it. Too much pressure to move it. Right here is about good. When I let it go, it doesn't fall, or if it falls, it might fall just a little tiny bit. You can catch it on this side. If it falls very little. This is the right way. Once you have this done, make sure this is nice and down. Oh yeah, I like this one. Look at this. Goes down a little tiny bit. Great. Now make the screws nice and tight. It got a little bit too tight now. Now it's too tight. Maybe I can fix it by loosening this up, but I don't think so. Nope. I just made it. Oh, maybe. I just fixed it. I loosened up a little bit. Yep, that's it. Then you have to tighten these screws here too, right? But I wouldn't tighten them till you put your steering in. Once you put your handlebars in, then you know exactly how much to set it. Right now there's no way you're going to set it nice and even. Put in your handlebars, make your handlebars snug, then you make this nice and tight. Very good tip for these screws here and these. If it's an aluminum stem, you can go too tight and rip the threads out. And on good quality bikes, your stem is going to be aluminum to save weight. So you don't want to make it too tight. You want to make it snug, but not very, very tight, but snug enough. I would say snug on the plus. So snug with a little bit of tightness. And do make sure you go in a cross pattern when you tighten this. Same thing with this here. You don't want to make it too tight, but you want to make it snug with a little bit of tightness. Or you're going to rip out the threads. If you have a steel one, you got nothing to worry about. If you're working on a regular bicycle, most likely it's going to be steel. If I didn't show you this, you wouldn't know. The shims, they go on first. And you have a little stem that you can use. I'm going to use it. Put it on the stem. Let's see how many shims. We don't need that many. Let's see what's enough. Yep, enough. Meaning the stem is higher than this pipe. Let's see. Yep. Oh, I got some tightness. I got some tightness right here. When I hit it here, let's make it a little bit loose. And the tightness went away. It goes nice and smooth. Not too tight, not too loose. Bam, that's it. Now we're finished the right way. It's super easy to install a new fork and measure. Unfortunately, nobody on YouTube made a good video that your regular person can just watch it, then go and buy yourself a new fork and change it. Number one trick when you install the fork is your tightness right here. If this is too tight, you're going to have crappy riding. If it's too loose, after a week or two, your stem is going to start doing this. The inside bearings are going to start separating and you're going to have movement. To recap, just measure right here. Recap, what you need to measure to buy a new fork is right here. Measure right here. That's for your wheel size. If it's a fat boy, is it a 20, 24? And measure right here inside your stem. Before you order a new fork, make sure you take off the old one and you measure it. Don't order a new fork like right now. How are you going to know what type of inside you got right here, the fork? You're not going to know 100%. And some, it's very rare, but some come with two different sizes. Bottom might be bigger and top might be smaller. I believe they're 30, 32, 42. I believe that's the sizes. Comes, I believe, 42, 32. But your most popular is your 28.6 millimeter. That's it. You guys want to see my bikes? These are my bikes. They're custom built by me and my two sons. This is a K8000. This one right here is mine. It's a K12000. I believe originally, I think it was a K10000. Then we upgraded it. I don't remember now. It was like a good 2 years ago. Got me a Cobra about a year ago. I'm going to put twin turbos on it and a nitrous. I won't be doing any videos, but that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. I got two Machete Red Cats. These RC cars will beat any real car. You can put this head to head against a Porsche, turbo Porsche, and the RC car will win.